Wait, you ate what? Sergeant Cole's voice carried through the dense, damp air of the forest as he stared at the group of aliens huddled around a patch of colorful mushrooms. The tall, sinewy creatures known as the Drekker had scaly skin that shimmered in the dim light filtering through the towering trees. They were seasoned warriors, renowned across the galaxy for their prowess in battle, but now they looked more like sickly children than fearsome combatants. One of the Drekker, who had introduced himself earlier as Chick, swayed slightly, his green eyes glassy. They were vibrant, thought they would provide sustenance. He muttered, his voice a mix of confusion and fear. His forked tongue flicked out nervously, tasting the air as if seeking an explanation. Cole suppressed a grin, though his amusement was tinged with concern. He had warned them, tried to tell them that Earth wasn't a place for the careless or the arrogant. But these aliens had landed here intent on conquest and had assumed the human homeworld would be as easily subdued as the countless other planets they had raised. Cole knew better. Earth was different. It wasn't just a death world in name. It was a planet that had earned its lethal reputation through eons of evolution, creating creatures and flora that were as deadly as they were deceptive. The Drekker, with all their advanced technology and warrior culture, were about to learn that lesson the hard way. Those mushrooms, Cole began, crossing his arms and leaning against a nearby tree, are called destroying angels. Cute name, right? But the toxin they produce is lethal. Not immediately, mind you. First, it makes you feel pretty good, maybe even a little euphoric. Then, about 12 hours later, your organs start shutting down, one by one. The group of Drekker warriors exchanged glances, their scales rippling with agitation. Kix took a step back from the patch of mushrooms, his clawed hand resting on his stomach, as if trying to will away the growing unease. But Cole continued, that's just the start. You've set up camp in the middle of one of Earth's oldest forests, and everything around you, everything, is out to kill you. One of the other Drekker, a broad-shouldered soldier with dark crimson scales, growled low in his throat, we are not afraid of primitive plants and animals. We are the Drekker. We have conquered worlds far more dangerous than this. Cole chuckled, the sound low and almost pitying. Dangerous? Sure, but not like Earth. Not like this forest. He motioned to the dense undergrowth that surrounded them. You see that vine over there? Looks harmless, right? That's poison ivy. One brush against your skin and you'll be itching and burning for days. And that tree with the pretty white flowers? That's a manchineel. Its sap can cause blisters, blindness, even death if you're not careful. Kix glanced around, his composure unraveling. We've encountered toxins before. Our medical systems can neutralize them. Can they? Cole raised an eyebrow, genuinely curious, because these aren't just toxins. Earth has a way of turning the mundane into the deadly, and you don't even see it coming. Before the Drekker could respond, there was a sudden rustling in the bushes. The group of aliens tensed, weapons drawn, their advanced rifles glowing with a faint blue light. Cole didn't move, though he knew what was coming. A small creature darted out from the undergrowth, its fur bristling and teeth bared. It was a raccoon, scavenging for food. But to the Drekker, it might as well have been a miniature monster. The aliens fired their rifles, emitting a high-pitched whine as they unleashed a volley of energy bolts. The raccoon dodged most of them, quick and agile, before retreating into the shadows. Cole shook his head, a smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. That was a raccoon, not dangerous unless you corner it. But you'd never know that, would you? You see something small, something that doesn't immediately appear threatening, and you think you can handle it. But Earth isn't just about the big threats. It's the small ones that'll get you. The Drekker were silent, their earlier bravado waning as they processed what they had just witnessed. Cole could see the cracks forming in their confidence, the fear slowly creeping into their minds. They were beginning to realize that this wasn't just another planet to conquer. Earth was a different beast altogether. Kix, his earlier defiance replaced by a wary uncertainty, looked at Cole with something approaching respect. How did your kind survive here? He asked, his voice full of disbelief. Cole shrugged, his gaze steady. We adapted. We learned. We didn't try to fight the planet. We became a part of it. And that's why you're going to lose. Because you think you can come here and treat Earth like every other world you've invaded. But Earth isn't just going to fight back. It's going to teach you a lesson. Kix opened his mouth to respond, but before he could, another sound echoed through the forest, a low, rumbling growl, followed by the snap of a branch. The Drekker froze, their eyes wide as they tried to pinpoint the source of the noise. But the forest was dense, the trees towering above them, casting deep shadows that made it impossible to see more than a few feet in any direction. Cole's expression hardened, his tone serious. "You're in its territory now, and it knows you're here." Kix's scales rippled with unease, and he looked at Cole, his confidence shattered. "What is it?" Cole didn't answer right away. Instead, he reached for his own weapon, a simple rifle by Drekker standards, but one that had served him well enough on Earth. He checked the chamber, his movements deliberate, before finally answering, "Welcome to Earth, chick. Welcome to your worst nightmare." The growl echoed through the forest, low and menacing, sending a shiver through the Drekker ranks. Their confidence, already shaken by the poisonous flora and hostile fauna, crumbled further as they huddled closer together, their eyes darting nervously through the trees. The dense canopy overhead allowed only slivers of sunlight to penetrate, casting eerie shadows on the forest floor. Cole scanned the surroundings, his instincts honed from years of surviving in Earth's harshest environments. He could see the fear in the Drekker's eyes, a primal terror that no amount of advanced technology or combat training could suppress. They were out of their element, far from the battlefields they were used to, and Earth was taking full advantage of their ignorance. "Stay close," Cole said, his voice low but firm. "You're not going to want to face this thing alone." "What is it?" Kix asked again, his earlier bravado now completely replaced with genuine fear. Cole didn't answer immediately. He was listening, waiting for another sign of the creature's presence. The forest had gone eerily silent, the usual chirping of birds and rustling of leaves replaced by an oppressive stillness. Whatever was out there, it was stalking them, biding its time. The Drekker soldiers, sensing the tension, raised their rifles, the glowing barrels trembling slightly as they aimed into the dark forest. Their scales, usually a vibrant display of dominance and power, had dulled with anxiety. Cole knew that their advanced weaponry wouldn't be enough if they didn't understand the enemy they were facing. "It's called a bear," Cole finally said, keeping his voice even. "A grizzly, to be exact. It's big, it's fast, and it's got claws that can rip through armor like it's nothing. But the worst part, it's not afraid of you." A murmur of unease spread through the Drekker ranks. Kix's eyes widened, his earlier sickness forgotten as the immediate threat loomed larger in his mind. "Why would it attack? We mean it no harm." Cole allowed himself a grim smile. "You're in its territory. On Earth. That's enough of a reason." The growl came again, closer this time, and the Drekker flinched, their rifles trained on the direction of the sound. Cole could see the underbrush parting, the massive form of the grizzly bear emerging from the shadows. It was a monstrous beast, its fur matted and dark, its eyes glinting with predatory intelligence. The bear stood on all fours, easily the size of a small vehicle, and its breath came in heavy, rhythmic huffs as it sized up the intruders. For a moment, time seemed to stand still. The Drekker, usually so quick to respond with overwhelming force, were paralyzed by the sheer presence of the animal. They had faced down legions of alien warriors, starships bristling with weaponry, and entire planets resisting their conquest. But this was different. The bear was no mere creature. It was a force of nature, a living embodiment of Earth's hostility. "Whatever you do," Cole whispered, "don't run." But his warning came too late. One of the Drekker, a young warrior who had been jittery since the encounter with the toxic mushrooms, broke ranks. He turned and bolted, his feet pounding against the forest floor as he tried to escape the inevitable. The bear's reaction was immediate. With a speed that defied its size, it lunged forward, covering the distance between it and the fleeing alien in a few powerful strides. The Drekker's screams were short-lived, cut off as the bear's massive paw swiped through the air, sending the alien crashing into a nearby tree with a sickening thud. The remaining Drekker stared in horror, their weapons still raised but useless in the face of such raw power. Cole knew they were close to breaking, their confidence shattered and their morale crumbling. He stepped forward, his rifle at the ready, and aimed carefully. "Welcome to Earth," he muttered under his breath as he pulled the trigger, the shot echoing through the forest.